Every political ideology in only 17 minutes by the evaluator. How cool. Okay, so obviously politics quite controversial, Everyone has their own beliefs, their own views, and it causes them to engage in punch battling. But the thing is, a lot of people don't know what the labels mean. Like, what is liberal? What is environmental? Even anarchist? I don't know what that is. Never heard of that before. But today we will learn and we will all know. So no matter what side you're on, we can all come together just this once in this video and educate ourselves. Here we go.
Liberal. Just imagine what it'll feel like waking up in a world where freedom is the morning coffee, equality is the toast, and opportunity for all is the butter on top. That's a world shaped by liberal ideologies, a family of political ideas that love individual rights, fairness, and progress. Think of liberalism as the cool cousin at the family dinner, always advocating for everyone's voice to be heard. Basically, liberal ideologies believe that people should be free to live their lives how they want, within reason, of course. So, nope, you still can't be a pirate.
That doesn't sound so bad to me. I feel like I also believe that. I believe as long as you're not hurting anyone, as long as you don't try to push your beliefs too much on force on anyone, you should be able to do what you want, I don't always agree with it, but it's your life, so do what you want, That's why I think everyone should just do what they want, as long as you're not hurting anyone. That's the important part.
Of the opinion that society should work toward making life fair for everyone. Think of it like this. If life were a video game, liberal ideologies want everyone to start with the same gear and chances to level up. No pay-to-win hacks allowed. You see, liberal forces have actually played a huge role in society as you know it today and have been the driving force behind many of the rights we take for granted today. Freedom of speech? Thank a liberal thinker. The right to vote? Liberal ideals at work. A world where you don't have to worry about being jailed for writing bad poetry? You guessed it. They're like the team of engineers behind the bridge you walk on every day. You don't always notice their work, but without them, you'd be swimming upstream. However,
that sounds good to me, but obviously, like anything, it can be taken too far, and maybe he's going to mention it now.
Some people argue that liberal ideologies can lead to a do-whatever-you-want culture, which can be chaotic if everyone has different rules. And with so many different rights and freedoms, things can get bureaucratic, like needing 12 forms to start a business. Conservative.
Yeah, that's a good point. Obviously, there's some liberals, like, some of the, no offense, like, they take it too far. And obviously, there's people like that in every facet of life and everything, take things too far, and it makes everyone look bad, innit?
Say you're hosting a party and there's two groups of people there. One group is loud, throwing confetti everywhere and trying to shake things up, while the second group is just calmly sitting by one corner, calmly sipping their tea while insisting there's no need to shake anything up. That second group, those are the conservatives, and they like their traditions like they like their tea. Strong, reliable, and not stirred too much. Basically, conservatism is all about valuing tradition and the idea that if something has worked for centuries, maybe we don't need to fix it. Simply put, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. With conservatism, you have the traditional conservatives who believe in respecting customs, institutions, and moral values handed down through generations. Then there's the fiscal conservatives who believe in keeping government spending low, reducing debt, and avoiding unnecessary financial risks. Now, while these don't cover all the different kinds of conservative ideologies we have, the whole point of conservatism is stability. And in a chaotic world, they're the ones trying to slow down and think before we flip everything upside down.
I think there's also a lot of good here as well, because a lot of the new ideas maybe presented by by liberals needs to be tested first. Maybe isn't as what we need, and then conservatives will be like, calm down a bit. I think it's all about balance. If we have balance, we present new ideas from the liberals, conservatives, and then everyone, we test it out, we see if it actually benefits society, and then we push it forward. And sometimes some of the old values are pretty good. Traditional family, mum, dad, kid, nice marriage. You can't really go wrong with that. Very, very cool. And of course, we have to just make sure that we don't preserve everything, because there was a lot of stuff back in the past that we want to leave in the past. You get what I mean? That some conservatives still want to bring into the future. That I think we should just try to forget about that.
However, even though conservatism can be great, there are a few downsides that can make it a hindrance to the progress of society. Being resistant to change would cause you to miss out on opportunities, and overemphasis on tradition can alienate groups who don't fit the old ways. Socialist. At its core, socialism is like a big family dinner. Everyone contributes something, and the whole meal is shared equally so no one goes hungry. It's essentially all about collective ownership of everything, so resources, industries, and wealth are owned by the community or state and distributed based on need.
This will never work, by the way. That's my opinion. I don't know, could be wrong. I feel like this will never work. There's always going to be someone running the show, always going to be someone greedy that's going to make us, the people, they're going to give us the scraps and they're going to be eating good. This doesn't work. Humans are just too cooked for this to work.
In short, from each according to their ability to each according to their need. Now, like every other type of ideology, socialism comes in different flavors. So there's the democratic socialism, which believes in a mix of public ownership for big industries like healthcare and democratic governance. You'll still have elections and Netflix subscriptions, but major stuff like hospitals and schools are for everyone.
To be fair, I do agree with that. There's some things that just should not be a business. And why the hell is healthcare, especially in America, a business? People should not be able to profit off healthcare. That should be something for everyone. Everyone pays taxes and everyone gets to be healthy and get the care that they need. That should not be a business. The same thing goes with some things like water. The same thing goes for like education. Universities should not be able to profit off that. It's something that everybody needs to try and elevate and make a better life for themselves. Why is that? Why is in the US again? Why is that being absorbently taxed too high? 100k to go to university. It makes no sense. Why is school free all the way up until university and suddenly, oh, we can't make it work in university? There's too much corruption there. It should be a flat rate for everyone, and again, taxes. Everyone pays taxes and it makes it equal. But in other things, businesses, food, luxuries, that can be a business profit off because you don't need that. Like, I mean, obviously you need food, but like restaurants, you get what I mean?
Then there's Marxism, which is socialism's OG, created by Karl Marx. It's all about a worker-led revolution overthrowing the ruling class, aka the rich folks who own the factories. The ultimate goal with this idea is a classless society, so basically there'd be no rich, no poor, just people working together. Well, a lot of people love the idea of socialism because it's an ideology that makes sure no one gets left behind. There's also a social safety net like free healthcare, free education, and protections for the vulnerable that just makes it famous. However, while having a socialist society might sound like a dream come true for a lot of people, the reality of actually achieving one is worse than a nightmare.
Yeah, it's just low-key, it's just a dream. It's too idealistic, a bit too Disney. It doesn't really work in theory. That's why you have to have it in maybe a balance. Again, most things, the answer is balance. We balance it out. We have some aspects be not really free, we're paying taxes, but like access to everyone, healthcare, school, stuff like that, the vitals, and a lot of other things, you gotta pay, gang. I'm sorry.
Think about it. If the government manages everything, things can get bogged down in red tape. So before you even get the proper health care, you may probably die from your sickness. People would also lack incentive to work. I mean, if everybody earns the same, there'd be no reason to work hard or put in the effort.
Plus, everyone earns the same. How does it work? In that way, so would a janitor make the same as a doctor? That would be ridiculous, gang. That's preposterous. Since everyone is making the same, everyone has to be the same. If there's no rich or poor, then that means you can't have someone making more than another. That's going to create a class. So you're going to have doctors making the same as janitors, and then the cleaner, and no, not the cleaner, and then the cook making the same as the lawyer. It doesn't add up. It doesn't work. So one of them requires way more skills than the other, and it's not fair that they make the same. So in the effort to try and make it equal, it's actually not equal. So it's a dream, a bit too Disney, but again, if we make it work in the sense that we have bit by bit, some aspects socialist, some aspects a bit capitalist, could probably work out like that.
be a brain surgeon if I could make the same money painting murals of cats. At the end of the day, though, socialism aims to prioritize people over profit, and it's a bold idea that has challenged the way most societies have worked for centuries. Libertarian. Picture a massive arena where all the political ideologies have one corner. You've got the conservatives fighting AI and every new technology. In another, the socialists are passing out sandwiches and equality. But standing off to the side, waving a giant flag that says "Live and let live," are the libertarians. These guys didn't even want to be here, but they showed up just to remind everyone they'd like to be left alone. That's basically the whole idea behind libertarianism. It's an ideology that's all about freedom from government, from rules, and sometimes from common sense. You see, libertarianism is like the ultimate you do you mindset on steroids. Libertarians believe people should be free to live their lives however they want, as long as they're not hurting anyone else. They are big fans of individual liberty. They think people are better at running their own lives than governments are. To them, rules and regulations are like...
This is not me, gang. I have to clarify. I did say yes, everyone should do what they want, as long as they're not harming anyone. I believe that, but obviously within the confines of the societal structures, you cannot just go and do tomfoolery and expect not to be punished. You can't fully do what you want but you have to manage it. Does that make sense? I hope that makes sense. So these guys may be taking it too much. If you don't want to be a libertarian, you might have to go live in the woods, bro. Away from the government, away from the law. You might just have to actually become Tarzan and make your own way, because there's no way to be libertarian if you live in a major city or town. There's rules, bro. There's rules.
Bad roommates, annoying, restrictive, and always getting in the way. So they are all about personal responsibility, self-reliance, and freedom from unnecessary interference. Well, that's not a very smart stance, to be honest, because without rules, things might get a little wild. Imagine a world where everyone just does whatever they feel like with no consequences. Basically, there'd be no one to stop companies from dropping glitter in water or selling you air subscription plans. Authoritarian and totalitarian. Just imagine you wake up one day and every decision in your life, from what cereal to eat to what job you'll work, is made for you. You glance outside and see a giant poster of a stern-looking leader with the caption, "Happiness is mandatory. Smile or else." Sounds intense,
Holy
right?
North Korea. Yeah, that sounds like a hellhole.
Right. Well, that is basically the essence of the authoritarian and totalitarian ideologies, and their power isn't just concentrated, but glued, stapled, and super...
Like that one Phineas and Ferb movie where Doofenshmirtz took over. It's quite sad.
Glued to a select few or one. Basically, authoritarianism is like a super strict parent who likes to think they always know what's best for you. In this system, power is concentrated in the hands of a single leader or small group, and there is absolutely nothing like individual freedom. They believe a strong hand is necessary to maintain order and stability, so they are the boss, the judge, and the DJ at every party. It's like living in a permanent group project where one person decides everything. Now, if authoritarianism is the strict parent, totalitarianism is the parent who watches your every move, installs cameras in your room, and tells you what to dream about. Totalitarian regimes don't just want control over your actions, they want control over your thoughts, beliefs, and feelings too. It's full-on micromanagement. You'll probably see the leader's face on every billboard, TV, and cereal box because they are the star of the show.
Insane. Imagine waking up, you see Kim Jong-un's face, and then you go to a living room. I think you have to have a picture of Kim Jong-un in your room, in your house, somewhere. You have to show respect. Come on now. And then you turn on the TV. What's on? Okay, cooking with Kim Jong-un, channel 1. I don't feel like Kim Jong-un. Let's check next channel. Okay, next. The news that's heavily propagandized with Kim Jong-un. Oh, Kim Jong-un again. Click next channel. Okay, now it's live with Kim Jong-un. It's like, damn, bro. Can I get rest? Go outside. You see his face everywhere. It's North Korea, man. God bless you guys. I don't blame them for trying to escape. Always trying to escape. Can't even blame them. It has to be top 10 worst countries to live in. And Kim Jong-un. If you see this is AI, by the way. I didn't actually say this.
However, these kinds of regimes often rise when people are desperate, especially during wars, economic crises, or periods of chaos. Someone usually swoops in, promising to fix everything if they are given all the power. It's like letting someone borrow your car, then realizing they've changed the locks. And to be honest, some people prefer a strong hand to guide them. But while authoritarianism and totalitarianism can seem like a shortcut to solving big problems and totally removing messy elections or gridlocked debates, the reality of it is like playing Monopoly, where the banker controls the board, the rules, and whether you go to jail. Anarchist. So it's another Friday night game out with your friend, and just as you guys are having fun, someone suggests a game. But unlike every other kind of game you've ever played, this one has no referee, no scoreboard, and no one telling you what the rules are. Yet somehow everyone agrees to work together, play fair, and have fun. That's kind of like anarchism in a nutshell. No rules, no bosses, but people figuring things out cooperatively. At their core, anarchist ideologies believe that societies can function just fine and maybe even better without centralized governments, oppressive laws, or hierarchical power structures. Instead of being ruled from above, people would govern themselves through voluntary cooperation and mutual aid. Now,
I feel like this has too much faith in humans. It's all fun and games until someone starts beefing with someone and the whole system collapses.
If you're wondering how this would even work, given the fact that human beings are eternally selfish creatures, well, according to anarchists, most people are naturally cooperative. They envision small, decentralized communities where decisions are made democratically, conflicts are resolved peacefully, and everyone chips in. Think of it like one big neighborhood block party, except
that most people are decent human beings. You know, I'm not like some nihilist, everyone sucks at it. I think most people are decent people, probably get along. But then when it comes to politics, stuff like this, it kind of brings out the worst in some people, and this just probably wouldn't work.
Cops aren't called when the music gets too loud. Of course, skeptics worry that without authority, things could devolve into chaos. Valid point, but anarchists, however, would argue that most of the chaos comes from the systems we have now. Sadly, the dream of the anarchist ideology doesn't look like it'll be coming to play anytime soon. I mean, it is one thing to dream of a boss-free utopia, and it's another to convince everyone else to jump on board. Plus, the fact that many people equate anarchism with chaos or lawlessness just gives it a bad rap. Environmental and green.
It's gonna be the hippies? Maybe.
So the year is 2100, and Earth has finally had enough. Forests are throwing tantrums, rivers are staging protests, and polar bears are running for political office. In the middle of all this chaos, a group of passionate people stand up, plant a tree, and decide it's time we stop messing around and save the planet.
So it's basically the Lorax. Cool, the Lorax. You guys know the Lorax? It's a great movie? Not really. I'm joking, it's not.
That's basically the world of environmental and green ideologies. And here, saving the Earth is not just a hobby, but a lifestyle. In simple terms, these ideologies are all about protecting nature, promoting sustainability, and ensuring humans stop acting like the most annoying house guest on the planet. They believe that the environment isn't just a resource to exploit, but something that deserves respect, care, and, let's face it, a long overdue spa day.
I mean, I recycle. Is that good enough? You know? Probably not to these guys. Maybe I should switch to walking all the time and never consume any of electricity.
Instead of burning through resources like there's no tomorrow, they push for renewable energy, recycling, and eco-friendly technologies. But then again, not all green ideologies are created equal, so there's the green politics, the guys that believe in environmental policies mixed with social justice, nonviolence, and grassroots democracy. Think of it as save the planet and the people. Then there's the deep ecology guys who believe nature isn't just valuable because it's useful to humans, it has its own rights. In their eyes, a mountain has as much right to exist as you do. Then finally, the eco-anarchism.
Crazy wag. I have a super right to exist, and the mountain can just cut. It's not even a living being. The mountain is not a living being. So how does it have as much right to live as me? That I have thoughts, feelings, ideas. The mountain doesn't have that. That's stupid.
that's all about no government, no corporations, just humans living in harmony with nature. Basically, it's like going off the grid, but with a political philosophy attached. Now, aside from the fact that this ideology is common sense because you literally cannot live without water, air, or food, it's also forward-thinking and sees the value in every single thing. A reminder to humans that we are not the only ones living on Earth. So, while it may mean a bit less convenience and a lot more composting, a cleaner, greener world would be worth it.
That is true. We have to leave a nice green earth for our descendants somehow. If we mess everything up, then human race ends. So we have to keep the earth well.
Nationalist. At its core, nationalism is all about loving your country, but it's not just about waving flags and eating way too much at national holiday barbecues. It's the intense belief that your nation, however you define it, by borders, culture, language, or even vibes, is the main character of history and deserves its own spotlight.
Holy America, holy a lot of the Americans.
But there's different types of this ideology, as it is not a one-size-fits-all situation. Civic nationalism is like joining a really cool club where the only requirement is that you believe in the same core principles. It's not about where you were born or your ancestry, it's about shared values like democracy and freedom. In contrast, ethnic nationalism feels more like an exclusive family reunion where you need to prove your ancestry to get an invite. This form of nationalism focuses on shared heritage, language, or culture, creating a strong sense of identity. It's great for preserving traditions, much like your grandma passing down her secret recipe for apple pie. However, ethnic nationalism can quickly turn sour. If the focus shifts to us versus them, it becomes less about celebrating your heritage and more about side-eyeing anyone who doesn't fit the mold.
Holy some racist whites. I don't know if you guys seen it, but there was this community of white people that wanted to live with only white people, no blacks, no Indians, no nothing, just whites. It's giving off a bit of this, you know. But it's cool if they're racist whites that want to live away from black people, white Indians, all that. Cool, stay in your own corner, and you can be in your own racist little brain dead community together, and the rest of us can be normal over here.
Well, at the end of the day, nationalism makes people feel connected, like they're part of something bigger than themselves, and it can inspire unity, pride, and even acts of kindness, like rebuilding a country after tough times. But then it can get really messy sometimes. While it initially starts with good vibes, if things get too extreme, it can spiral into unhealthy competition, exclusion, or even conflict. At its worst, nationalism has been used to justify wars, discrimination, and othering people who don't fit the mold. It's like that karaoke night turning into a shouting match where everyone's screaming their anthem at full volume. Progressive and radical. So it's a lazy Sunday in the year 2045, and you're sipping your ethically sourced, lab-grown coffee when your AI assistant announces that humanity has finally fixed the gender pay gap, stopped climate change, and achieved universal health care. Sounds impossible if you really think about it, but according to progressive and radical ideologies, it is not. This is because they are like the let's fix this mess crew of politicians and are all about making society better fast. Progressives focus on reform within the current system, like upgrading your phone's software, while radicals aim to completely overhaul or even replace the system. Think smashing the phone and building a new one from scratch. While they both want change, progressivism believes society should constantly improve and evolve by addressing social, economic, and environmental inequalities. But then radical ideologies take progressivism to the extreme. Radicals often push for revolutionary changes by totally abolishing hierarchies, redistributing wealth, or creating entirely new forms of governance. Why settle for crumbs when we could bake a new cake? But the truth is that without progressives, we'd be stuck with medieval vibes, and without radicals, we'd never question the very systems we're told to accept, like capitalism or rigid class structures. They are both like humanity's cheerleaders and whistleblowers. They remind us that society isn't perfect, and we can and should aim for better. Global and transnational. Just picture a society where there's nothing like countries, passport stamps are a relic of the past, and everyone identifies as a global citizen.
That would be insane. Imagine a world where the whole world is just one and there's no countries or nothing. Everyone's just human. What would a world like that look like? I don't know. Maybe you can say in the comments below.
Traveling freely, sharing resources, and collectively solving problems like climate change and poverty. This is the world dreamed of by global and transnational ideologies, where borders are non-existent, cooperation is mandatory, and humanity works together as one big and sometimes dysfunctional family. To understand this better, you first have to understand globalism, which is the belief that the world is interconnected and nations should cooperate to solve big problems like war, climate change, or the existential crisis of running out of coffee beans. Think of it as the group project of ideologies, except this time, everyone actually contributes. This ideology sounds great because it would eliminate petty rivalries between countries. Plus, global challenges need global solutions. After all, greenhouse gas doesn't stop at a border because it's not asking for a visa. However, the whole idea of globalization might not sound so fun for smaller countries because it may turn into a weird situation of do it my way or else. And honestly, national pride might take a hit as not everyone's ready to swap their flag for a universal Earth emoji. But the truth is that when it finally comes down to what truly matters, you'll see that these world's problems, whether it's climate change, pandemics, or asteroid attacks, don't care about borders. So global and transnational ideologies are here to remind us that humanity is stronger when we work together.
That is true. And obviously, I feel like that would never work. Everyone, one global thing, no more countries. It doesn't work. Humans are greedy. They're gonna fight. You open a history book. Bloods have been fighting over land since forever. It wouldn't work. But countries already do kind of work together to, do cool stuff like send Bloods to the moon or fight asteroids, I guess. So there's already signs of this global political economics in action already. Countries already do work together. Countries already form alliances. The idea of every country being united as one would be nice, but again, that's almost like wishing for world peace. Not really realistic, but it would be nice, wouldn't it?
And even though there would be challenges like balancing global cooperation with local identity, no one ever said saving the world would be easy.
Oh yeah, W video, okay. But obviously politics is quite grrr. So let's look at a few comments. I'm curious to see what people are saying about this one. Anti-good, but okay, someone's clarifying. Okay. Yeah, they kind of aren't, are they? They're low-key cool with AI. Okay, cool. Accurate. Yeah. But yeah, nothing too crazy, I guess. Some people are saying no one's bashing libertarianism. Yeah, people love bashing liberals. But I don't think they're bad. It's only when you take it to extreme. But again, anything taken to an extreme is bad. But it's all about balance, guys. Yeah. Okay. Well, that's the video. Like, subscribe, and all that good stuff.